welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a review on the Anastasia Beverly Hills X Jackie Aina eyeshadow palette. If you do want to see a review on a demo, please keep watching. This is what the eyeshadow palette looks like. It is so beautiful. I love the packaging. It's so iridescent. It has that rainbow to it. It says Jackie Aina and then Anastasia Beverly Hills. When you flip it on the back, you do have some of the ingredients and the shade name. When you open up the packaging, this is what the actual eyeshadow palette looks like. It is so gorgeous. I love this packaging. Of course, it does come in its Anastasia Beverly Hills regular packaging. Let's open this up together. Oops, there goes the little film. This eyeshadow palette is stunning. Stunning. Do you guys see how pretty that is? I literally haven't even opened it, swatched it, but automatically I love the colors. You guys know that I love any eyeshadow palette that does come with a mirror, and Anastasia Beverly Hills does not disappoint. They always add a mirror to every eyeshadow palette. Bend this mirror over so I'm not blinding you guys, so you guys can see what the actual palette looks like. I love the color scheme. Great for fall coming up. So let's get started with the swatches. By the way, this eyeshadow palette does retail for $45 on Anastasia Beverly Hills, Ulta, and Sephora. So let's start with the first shade here. This shade is called Soleil. Wow, extremely buttery in the pan. This eyeshadow in Soleil is crumbling all over my hand. I would expect that from any ABH palette. They do have a lot of fallout. We have the shade in Soleil, very pigmented, extremely buttery. That is a gorgeous shade. That would be a great inner corner highlight for me. Soleil is described as a metallic soft peach with a gold shift. The next shade in the palette is called Supreme. This is a matte shade. Not as buttery as the first shade. It feels matte in the pan. Wow, look at that pigment. Here we have the shade in Supreme. Supreme is described as a matte rosy pink shade. The next shade in the palette is called Pinker. This is another matte shadow. It does have the same consistency as the previous shade in Supreme. It's not that buttery in the pan. It does feel matte. Again, very pigmented. Here's what Pinker looks like. Ooh, why did I swatch it on top of Supreme? Let me just do that again. I'm just going to do that swatch over. There we go, much better. I like this shade in Pinker. You guys know I'm a purple fan. I went ahead and blended out that shade in Pinker. Pinker is described as a matte mid-tone cool plum shadow. The next shade in the palette is called Big Wig. You guys know I love purple, and wow. This purple feels so nice than the previous two matte shades here. This purple is a matte shade as well. And that gorgeous purple. The shade in Big Wig is described as a matte rich purple. Let me just blend it out a bit. Yep, that is gorgeous. The next shade in the palette is called Doulas. I love this shadow. It feels very creamy in the pan. And look how pigmented that is. Here we have the shade in Doulas. Doulas is described as a metallic golden olive. That shadow is gorgeous. Again, I am not mad at any of these shades so far. The next shade is called Credit. This is another matte shade. Again, I love a matte neutral shade. The shade in Credit is described, wow. Credit is described as a deep matte plum brown shadow. The last shade in the top row is called Lithituation, like situation. I love how this feels. It feels so nice and buttery in the pan. And look at that pigment. And here is Lithituation. Lithituation is described as a metallic deep taupe with a violet shift. Moving on to the bottom row, the first shade is called Zam. Let's see if it's really Zam. Very buttery in the pan. Let's see what Zam looks like. It's actually very nice. Zam is described as a sparkling rose gold. The next shadow is called Wigglese. It's not soft in the pan at all, but it does feel nice. It does have a little grit to it. That's the shade in Wigglese. Wigglese is described as a metallic cranberry red. This cranberry red would be great for holiday, for Christmas Eve. The next shadow is called Shookington. Again, love how soft and buttery this is. I did use a lot of pressure, So that's why it's kind of falling out a little bit. Here we have the shade in Shookington. The shadow in Shookington is described as a metallic violet with a blue shift. The next shade is called Trust Issues. Here's what Trust Issues looks like. The shade in Trust Issues is described as a sparkling white gold. The next shadow is called Edges. This shade in Edges is a matte shadow. Here's the shade in Edges. Edges is described as a matte deep peach. The second to last shade is called Sponsored. Here's what Sponsored looks like. Ooh, wow, that is an interesting shadow. I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but it looks like a brown, and it does have like a teal shift to it. Sponsored is described as a metallic chocolate with a teal shift. The last shade in this eyeshadow palette is called Ginger. This is the last matte shadow. It feels very nice in the pan. Here we have Ginger. Ooh, Ginger looks more of my skin complexion. Ginger is described as a matte caramel brown, so that would be a great transition shade for me. We have all 14 shades swatched on the back of my hand. I'm trying to get all of it in. I'm not sure if you guys can see Ginger down here at the very end, but here's what all of it looks like. It looks gorgeous, you guys. Now we're going to create a look using this eyeshadow palette. We are also going to be using this dual-ended brush that it does come with. The first shade that I am going to be picking up is the shade Ginger. It's this shade right here. It matches my skin complexion perfectly. I will be using this shade in Ginger as my transition shade. I will be applying that all over my crease. I will be using this double-ended brush. I'm going to be using this flat side, picking a little bit of that shadow up on the brush, applying that in my crease. If you guys are wondering which foundation I am wearing, it is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Luminous Foundation. I have been wearing this foundation for about 3 days now. You guys will see that video pretty soon. I think by the end of this week, after I get this video up, then that video will go live. Stay tuned for that if you're interested to know my thoughts. I am loving how it's blending out so far. I'm just going to be using the fluffy side and we're going to blend it out. I didn't have to use a lot of pigment. That's something that I really do love about Anastasia palettes, is that you don't have to use a lot of the shadow. A little bit does go a long way, but I have experienced a lot of fallout while using Anastasia's eyeshadow palette, building it up slowly. Here's what Ginger looks like applied all over the crease. I am loving how that looks. I'm not sure what kind of look I am trying to create. I really want to play with this red cranberry shade in the shade Wigglies, so I think I might use that shade. I also want to use some sparkly shades as well, so I think I'll probably go in with Wigglies all over the lid, and then we'll use Zam in the inner corner. Again, using this dual-ended brush, I'm going to be picking up the shade in Wigglies. I'm going to apply that shade all over the lid. Wow. That has some pigment. I am going to spray my brush as well just to see how much. Wow. So, wow, that is gorgeous. That's without me wetting my brush. I do want to see what the shade in Wigglies applies when it is wet. So I'm just going to be spraying my brush. Now we're going to dip into the shade Wigglies, this cranberry red. I love this shadow. I'm not really into reds, but for some reason it's calling my name. I'm not getting as much fallout as I did on this side of my face. This looks gorgeous. Can you guys even tell the difference? I can see the difference in person. This side looks way more bright and pigmented, while this side, it does look good, but it's not as vibrant as this side. I do want to add a little bit more something to the outer corner. I'm just going to grab the shade in Credit. I have a little bit of the shade in Credit applied on my brush. I'm going to apply that on my outer corner, just a tad bit. I'm barely touching it. You guys see how I created that little line? Not sure if I can duplicate that on the other side, but we're going to try. the shade in Credit right here. I just stamped it in, blended it upward, and then using my damp beauty blender, just cleaned up the edges. That way it created that sharp wing. It looks really nice, you guys. I have not created a wing liner like this before. Next shadow we are going to be going into is the shade in Zam. I'm going to be taking that on the same flat brush that I used. This shadow has a ton of fallout, so I have to be careful with this shade. I'm going to be using that in my inner corner. This eyeshadow look looks really nice. I do want to grab a little bit of Soleil. I know I'm putting too much on top. It looks great on its own. I have a tiny bit of Soleil on my flat brush. Just want to add it on the lid. Just brightened up that inner corner. I'm going to be doing the same thing here. I'm definitely loving this eyeshadow look I created. It doesn't look too wham bam in your face. I added mascara and a lip for mascara. You guys already know I went in with my L'Oreal Ultimate Mascara. For lips, I'm currently wearing Coffee and Cigs by MAC. This is their Love Me lipstick collection. If you guys haven't seen that video yet, I will link it right over here. My final thoughts on the Anastasia Beverly Hills X Jackie Aina eyeshadow palette is that I really love this palette. I love the eyeshadow look that I did create. I can see myself using this eyeshadow palette. I have not fallen in love with an eyeshadow palette recently since Modern Renaissance from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I've not been super excited until this eyeshadow palette came out. All of the shadows in this eyeshadow palette is very pigmented. It was not patchy. It wasn't chalky at all. I feel like it's very brown girl friendly. I see myself using it day in and day out. I can see myself creating fall looks. I can see myself creating winter looks, holiday looks with this palette. I definitely recommend you guys checking it out. It's available at Ulta, Sephora, and Anastasia Beverly Hills. If you guys did enjoy this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe. I will see you guys in my next video.